Hey everybody, this is the Super E and J podcast.
Episode number 4.
There we go. Well, I'm Justin Bogard and my company is Bright Path Notes, and so what I do is I'm a note investor, and so I invest in mortgages and deeds of trust, land contracts and things like that. So my company buys, sells, and help creates these mortgage loans for our investors.
And I am Super E, also known as Elizabeth Mayora, and we do all things Airbnbs. Everything from rehabbing the properties for our clients, we do all the design work, and then the complete hosting and property management here in Indianapolis, Indiana.
That's awesome. And then we happen to be filming in Indianapolis, Indiana at one of Super E's Airbnbs. So that's where so what's the name of this one?
It's called Downtown Serenity. It's a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bathroom. It's in an apartment building. And in this case, my client owns the apartment building. So that's the only time that we'll do an actual building, because HOAs can come in at any time and allow or not allow short-term rentals.
Ooh, good point.
Yes. I just had questions 2 times this week about other apartment buildings here, and I said, no, thank you.
Yeah.
But it's really cool because our client found us actually from the videos that I put up on LinkedIn.
Oh, awesome.
And she's from Manhattan, and I got to meet her 2 weekends ago. We got to have lunch. So she's been our client since February, I believe.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then one of the things that we're really big on is promoting local. So this painting behind us is from Megan Jefferson. She's a local artist here in Indianapolis, and this is an oil painting, and she also does resins. She does obviously some really phenomenal work. So it's really great because our guests can actually buy any of the paintings and resins that we have here, or they can go, she left one of her catalogs, so just another little nice experience for our guests.
That is so cool, and thanks for sharing with the local community, especially the local small businesses as well. That's awesome. So that's one thing I liked about your Airbnbs when I first started following you. After when we became friends, and I was kind of learning your journey as well as you were going down. Is that Elizabeth's always using the coffee, local coffee place, and other local places I'm learning about. It's just kind of cool to do that, and that's the downtown feel. It's like it's real. It's got all that eclecticness, and then it's got all the what am I trying to say? All the little tiny shops and little tiny areas, and you find these gems. Like this is a really beautiful painting, so that's kind of cool. So I'm glad that we're here. So thanks for opening up the doors to have us film this 4th episode here today. So
last time we wanted to do it in one of our Airbnbs, but we were 100% booked.
Yeah.
We have guests coming in tomorrow here, but so yeah.
Yeah, because there was a conference in town, wasn't there? And that's why everything was booked up, and but that's cool. We got to do it at your house, right?
Yes.
Was that your house? In your living room. That's awesome. Well, I won't be able to do it in my living room because I just moved. So I finally got that off my shoulders. That was a big burden. I kind of learned the hard way about, because I do this every time if I move. I never hire out things I should hire out, like packing yourself or moving the heavy stuff yourself. Because like last night, I had to end up renting a U-Haul at the last minute at like 6 o'clock at night to get a bunch of large cabinets out of my garage, and then pack them up and move them to where we're staying temporarily while we're building. And it's just like, I'm just so glad it's over. So the pain of moving is not fun. So
the next time, hire.
Lesson learned. I will hire out some services, and I won't procrastinate as much as I did this time. So I could blame it on that I'm busy, but hey, who wants to hear that?
So when did you close on your property?
A couple hours ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, literally today.
And you rehabbed part of this too, right?
I did. When I bought the house, my dad and I were going to partner on it as a flip, and then I was just like, Dad, I really like this house. And so I ended up living in it with my kids, and it was in a good school district, so that was kind of nice. And then I just, kind of took over, paying for everything. And so my dad and I kind of figured out how to work out a deal, and so he got out of the way, and I just continued on living there. And so I sold the house. I did my documents yesterday because today was just too tight for my schedule, but because we're filming, right? Got to have time to film.
That's right.
And so the buyers actually went there this morning, and they took care of the closing, and funds are wired, and it's all good.
Excellent. That is a nice thing in real estate too, that it doesn't matter literally where in the world you are. You can close on a property anywhere and you don't have to physically be in the title company anymore. So
yeah, because you can hire a power of attorney, someone to have your limited power of attorney just to sign documents for you if you need to be at the closing on that day. So it was a local closing for us, so it was easy just to drive to the area where they were closing at and just go to the office, sign our documents, and then the buyers came in today and just finished their stuff. So the selling side is easy. You know,
yes,
it
is.
The buying side, if you have a mortgage, is quite extensive. So, yes, it's an arduous task, I would say.
It is, but congrats for getting through that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a big burden off the cuff there. So, I have been very secretive about this, but I actually was a co-author on a book of one of the guys that taught me in real estate. His name is Kevin Shortell, and he got a book together called Real Estate Without Renters. And so he asked me and a couple other people that he's trained before to be co-authors.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
When does it come out?
So the book actually already came out on Amazon. We had a launch day to where we were trying to get #1 status in a couple of categories. So on Amazon it sold for like 99 cents a copy. Okay. And so I believe we got 4 or 5 #1 selling copies. I don't know all the categories, but one of them was #1 bestseller for real estate was the book. So for that day, we got that status.
Wow, congratulations.
So that's kind of cool. So now when we go to hard copy print, we can have that little emblem on the front cover.
Okay.
So and I think I'm learning all the tricks for what people have. You know, it seems like everyone has a #1 bestseller. Well, that's kind of how it works. So it's interesting, but I mean, it's truthful because everyone bought most of them on the same day. And so it was kind of cool. So like I said, the ebook was 99 cents. A lot of people bought into it, and the main author, Kevin, he offered some free videos and stuff for anyone that bought the book that day that we reached out to. So that was kind of nice to get that going. But so anyways, yes, I am a co-author on a #1 bestseller.
Congratulations. So how was it authoring your part?
Well, I did one chapter, and so I had about 2,500 words that I could write as much as I want. I could write whatever I wanted to. It was, carte blanche, whatever you want to do there. So I wrote just kind of my path from when I found out I wanted to be a real estate investor, all the way to turning into a note investor, all the way to running a business, having a business, to kind of where I am when I finished my chapter, which I finished it in the fall of last year when I finished mine. So obviously a lot of things have changed since then, but that's kind of where my chapter led up to. So some other people I know in the business wrote chapters as well, and they wrote some pretty cool chapters as well. So
wow. So we can still buy it on Amazon as an ebook right now?
I believe so. I have to check online, but it's Real Estate Without Renters by Kevin Shortell, if you're interested. And if if the ebook isn't available anymore, it's because they went to hard copy and they're going to have the hard copy books printed. You can still order a hard copy book, but I'm pretty sure that the e-version is still out there. I need to check on that.
Okay, that's great. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it was it's kind of a big deal, I guess, for me to kind of graduate, because I've done little types of graduations of being an entrepreneur, and this was like the next biggest thing that I've done until I can write my own book someday. Mm-hmm. So I just need some more stories. So I'm sure I'll get them. I'm sure
you will too.
Yeah. So that was kind of the big things that have happened to me since the last time we sat down and talked. So what about you?
So for me, some interesting things with the business, and a big thank you to Justin. He recommended a CPA to me who has been phenomenal. I have not done my 2018 taxes yet. Filed extensions, obviously. So just know
a lot of us do that. Yeah.
Yes. So it just goes to show kind of the power of the network. Like, I know Justin has his business together, so.
Thank you, but yeah, it doesn't feel that way.
Well, and the thing too is, birds of a feather flock together. So, when people do business right and stuff, then you expect that's what their circle does as well. So Mark has been phenomenal already.
Awesome. Cool. I'm glad you could help. And I try to, it takes a while to develop, people you can count on, people you can trust and rely on and refer to. So I'm just very happy that I could refer somebody that works out well for you. It just makes me feel better. I mean, I don't get any sort of, benefit from it other than the fact that my friend, Super E has a great vendor now to rely on, because accounting is a big a huge part of our business. I mean, it's something, you know, you want it done right, and you want it to be done in a way that you are within the law, but also to your advantage within the law,
Yes.
so to speak. So, and that's what I like about that specific person that you use. So,
And I would say too that your CPA and bookkeeper are extremely important. So make sure that you interview them very well, and then just pay for, it's probably better just to pay for your CPA to do your bookkeeping as well.
yeah.
It's going to save you time and money down the road. So I would highly encourage you to do that.
Awesome.
And the other thing that's big, last week I was in Sarasota, Florida.
Yeah.
For 4 days actually, but I spent 2 days with a guy, Andy Moore is his name, and he has Gulf Coast rentals, vacation rentals in Sarasota and Bradenton, Florida. So I have 26 properties right now that we host and manage.
Wow.
And he has 900. So
he's the 900-pound gorilla, you know.
exactly.
Gotcha. That's a lot of properties.
It's a huge amount
Jeez.
of properties, and he only has 20, I believe it's 28 full-time people. So very efficient. They run a great operation. And I met him just the power. I also just want to encourage people to go to conferences and seminars. I met him in June at a conference in California. And so we really hit it off. And so I asked him, hey, would you mind if I came down and spent a couple of days in your operation?
Oh, wow.
So, and it's really cool because his market is totally different than ours. So we run our businesses very different as well. So it's just cool that you don't realize kind of how different you are, or how differently other people run their business, can really set yourself up for different things. Like we're marketing now different just because of things that I learned that,
Nice.
like, yeah, a lot of people, you know, just because we do different things for our guests. So it was very eye-opening just on that front, and just, you know, that Andy, he gave me access to all of his people. They had a schedule for me.
Oh, wow.
When I got there.
How cool is that?
Yes.
Man.
So a lot of takeaways from just 2 days with him and his company.
That's awesome. It's so worth it because those little nuggets that you get out of that, you know, a lot of people look at, oh, that's an expense that I'm not going to see a return on. Well, the little value add that you got for now, you're changing your marketing to be hopefully I'm sure it's going to pay dividends for you eventually, but it's like I don't think entrepreneurs understand when they first get into stuff how important it is to take what someone else does and try to implement it in your system. Like, I don't think you should just have one mentor. I think you should have many mentors. Absolutely. And take the best of what they have to offer and implement it into your space. Because no one's going to have the exact same business model, so to speak. It's cool. It's a different market too. So what's there may not work all the time in our market, but a piece of it does. You know. And
too, it's kind of cool how he runs some of his meetings. So he calls it the good. So something good personally and something good professionally.
Awesome.
That you share with everybody. And then his meetings, they do not allow cell phones. All cell phones are off. Computers are closed. So actually in our operations meeting now, the only phone that's allowed to be on is the company phone.
Okay.
Period. All computers are closed because we're focused on what's going on in the meeting.
You know, you have to do that nowadays. And I'll find myself getting distracted all the time because I'll have my phone ding or my computer ding with an email or a text or Messenger or whatever app that I'm using that notifies me. And it gets so distracting. And then you kind of go off in 5 tangents of like, oh my God, I got to go back and finish this one thing.
And what was I doing on that one thing?
Yeah, because I have a very short-term memory, and that's my biggest fault. So I think Brett Snodgrass from Simple Wholesaling, he taught me the power hour, where you just, like you just did, you turned off everything and you just focus on the thing you got to focus on, whether it was having a meeting with all your employees and your vendors or whatever, or if it's just knocking out a bunch of tasks that need to be done, whether it's paperwork or closing documents or what have you. So that's awesome. Yeah, it's what you need. Think of people did it back in like the 80s and the 70s and even the 90s when they didn't have cell phones or really computers that had stuff chiming in at you all the time. You actually had time to do things. So nowadays you have to be very time blocked, if you will, with your day and with your week and stuff. So it's something I still try to do. I need to be stronger at implementing more, regimented scheduling of like, okay, this day I'm going to do meetings, or I'm going to do these tasks on this day, because it's just a once a week thing. So
it does make a difference. And just back to the sound. So just for me, I don't have any notifications when I get emails. I don't. My text messaging is off. The sounds are off all the time. Also,
that's a good point.
And it's a huge help. And a lot of times when I'm working in the office, I'll turn my phone over so that I can't see anything, so that I can get work done.
Yeah.
So if I would challenge you or challenge you to do that for our listeners, and then write a comment and let us know. Just try it, even if you do it for an hour, and let us know if it helped you be more productive and more efficient.
Yeah, and I'm going to do that too, because I wear an Apple Watch, so my phone doesn't actually chime. It's actually it pulses, or it like vibrates in a
haptics.
Yeah, haptic. Thank you. It haptics me, and so then I'll constantly have it, and I'll be looking at my watch, my phone. And I'm realizing now that you say that, how many times I get distracted, even though I'm the one preaching not to get distracted. So I'm going to make it a concerted effort to mute this as well.
Very
and
nice.
So during the so if someone needs to get a hold of me for an emergency, they just better just call the phone and just keep calling until I answer. As long as it's not my fiance or my kids' school, then I think I'm okay.
That's right. Speaking of phones, I just have to say too that we have an 800 number now too for the business.
Is it a vanity number?
Yes.
Ooh.
It's 833 EMLLC 17. Oh, next month is our 2-year anniversary also.
Oh, cool.
So thanks. But yeah, it's kind of fun that now we have a tree. So meaning that when you call in, you can press 1 for reservations. Yeah, so that's feeling pretty big time with.
Well, so if anyone wants to reserve this Airbnb, they would call that 1-800 number, and they could go click 1 for reservations, and it would go to the person that handles your reservations,
which is Miss Becca. Yes.
All right. So by the time this episode airs, it may not be available, but you can still call and reserve it for the future.
That's right. So, absolutely.
It's pretty cool. This is a 6-plex building.
It is.
And then you've got this particular one is a floor on one side that's stretched out really long. So it's like, how many square feet is this? It's pretty big.
It's a lot. It's probably 1,500 or 1,600.
Yeah. It's a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath. So full kitchen.
Yes. Full kitchen. And this is kind of cool. Our clients so again, it's 2 sisters, and they're more on the healthy side. And so we kind of themed it with just this kind of fun vibe, and plant leaves and all kinds of cool stuff in the other rooms. And
I like that. We can't see on the video, but she has a room that's kind of looking off to the front of the building, and it's got just a bunch of large windows on the front and the sides of it. It looks like a little office space. It's a really small area, but it's kind of cute. It's got a little desk in there, so it's just being out there just kind of gives you like a neat feeling. So
and we have a yoga mat out there. So
serenity.
Yes. Exactly.
I feel it. True story.
So, and one of the things that's funny, because I was thinking about it today, is that some of the properties that you do, and so can you talk to us a little bit more about, and maybe provide some stuff on the notes on the house, because these are all houses.
Correct. Right? So it's debt on the actual property. So we're not investing in the property; we're investing in the debt on the property, right? So it's either a land contract that's the security instrument, or a note and mortgage, or a deed of trust, depending on what state you're in. It's called just different things. But it's the debts. But yeah, the collateral is pretty important, because when you're buying the debt, you're buying it at a discount, and that discount implies whatever the value of the collateral is, or the debt, or how it's written. There's a lot of different factors of why I would discount something more or less, and so the collateral is important. So a lot of the collateral that we have with the debt that we buy, and for our investors as well and our clients, they're probably working class homes, working class areas, because you get the best bang for the buck, so to speak. So they're usually under $100,000. We do some more over $100,000, but that's just typical where the best bang for the buck is the best way I can describe it. And there's a lot of them, because the bigger hedge funds, they don't want that low-hanging fruit. They want the bigger homes with a real beautiful collateral. That's just the stuff that we can't afford, But that's fine because our investors don't want to buy that stuff. They want to buy more for their dollar. So they spend a couple $100,000 with us. They're going to buy, maybe 2 or 3 loans as opposed to like 1 loan or 2 loans. So it's just diversifying your portfolio within your real estate portfolio.
What is the smallest note you sold?
Wow, probably, I think it was $7,500.
$7,500 for a house?
Well, the note.
Or for the note?
The debt.
The note.
The
Okay.
house was probably worth $30,000.
Okay.
But it was on the end of its life, so to speak, on the loan. So, loans can be written at 1 year, 5 years, 12 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25, 30, whatever the lender set the terms up as. So this particular one, I think it had about 18 months left on the loan. And it just worked out well. The investor that I was working with, he just had that much money available to spend. And so a lot of our investors, they don't need the cash right away. So they just want to build up their cash flow. So when they retire or when they're ready to start using that money, they just have, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $10,000 of cash flow coming in versus all these notes that they keep building up. So somebody probably was getting, $3,000 or $4,000 of cash flow a month, and all of a sudden, after a couple months, they're like, "Well, I got $8,000. Do you happen to have anything?" I'm like, "Yes, I do." It doesn't happen very often, but yeah, I've seen most of our loans that we sell or that we buy for our portfolio are in the range of probably like $20,000 to $50,000. That's the sweet spot, really, for them.
Okay.
The higher quality, I shouldn't say that. The higher valued collateral ones are probably between like 75 to 100,000 that we find, and so it just kind of depends on the investor why I would push them to go one direction or the other. So are they tolerant to higher risk or lower risk? Are they wanting a more asset that's secured by something that has a higher value collateral with a lower balance? I mean, there's a lot of confusing things I can tell the audience right now, but I'll hold back.
Thank you, just for our audience's perspective.
So they don't fall asleep.
But what's kind of is there a typical return, or can you maybe arrange for what?
So just like in the rental world, what we found out being note investors is that if you take a rental and you take not the short-term life of it, but the longer-term life, like the 8-year window to 10-year window, you're going to see that you had good returns, but you had to put money back into the property, or you have some recapture costs for taxes. And so then what you thought your profit was is kind of dwindled back down to what reality is. Okay. And we found in the note investing world that you're pretty much going to be maybe equal to having a rental portfolio, or actually a little bit better is what we've ended up seeing. So that, and putting numbers to it, they're going to be in the range of probably 6 to 8% yield, and that will be over the life of the loan. And then guess what? What happens when it pays off early from a remodification, or not remodification, I'm sorry. Refi, yeah, thank you, refinance. I'm having a cloudy mind today. A refinance or selling the home, that first lien gets paid off, and if you own that first lien, you get paid off in whole, right? So
nice.
The example I always use is that if somebody has a $100,000 balance left on their home, and let's say Super E is my investor client, and so she's going to buy that debt, let's just make the math easy, at $95,000. Let's say after you bought it and you record your documents and you're officially the owner of the debt, you're the bank, then the homeowner decides to sell the home. Well, what do they still owe? They owe about $100,000 of principal left, and you put in $95,000. So whatever your yield was expected at 25 years from then would be one number, let's just say 6%. And then if it sold off that quickly, you'd probably be getting a higher return, like a 10, 11, 12% return, just because it sold off and you didn't do any work. Wow. So there's no tenants, toilets, and trash. There's no hammer.
There's no guests.
There's no guests. There's just people building equity in their homes. And that's really what I like about the note investing space, is that you can do this from anywhere, virtually. Kind of your business, you can kind of do that as well. And the fact that you just get money coming in, but you have no effort into it, because between you and the borrower is your loan servicer, and they handle any communication with the borrower, which is really pretty much nothing. As long as they're making their payment, which pretty much all of them do, there's nothing really to talk about. So that's what's kind of nice. So being the note investor is kind of foreign to a lot of people, because the question I got asked recently is like, why doesn't everybody do this? I'm like, because they don't know about it. Like, that's part of my job, and having this podcast and being with you is to help not only brand our businesses, but also get the education out of like what short-term rentals can do for your portfolio, what notes can do for your portfolio, depending on how passive people want to be. And it's a very, very, very passive way to make money. There's a more active way to make money in non-performing loans, but that's another chapter for another day. But performing loans are mainly what we buy and sell for right now with the economy the way it is.
Okay.
Yep.
And they announced that they're going to be, the interest rates are decreasing. What does that do for your business? That's
a great question. I get asked that very often, but it doesn't really affect us too much yet until the interest rate would get up higher, and it would affect us more because in a positive way, because when those rates go up, when we're writing loans, those premium services that we're providing by writing the mortgage, so they don't have to go to a standard bank to get their loan, because most people just can't get approved nowadays with all the stringent rules and regulations for properties. Let's keep in mind under $120,000, the banks really aren't lending too often on those properties. So that'll make it better for us. Seller financing is just really strong right now because people are just needing help with bank financing. But yeah, the lowering the rates, the lowering the rates can help, because if somebody refis and they're paying 6, 7, 8% on their mortgage, of course they're going to be interested in refining at 4%, and then it only helps us as investors. So either way, the spectrum, I know that's kind of a weird answer, but it still helps us out. I mean, I don't see a hiccup in that being a part of that. Causing a problem in our business.
Good. So. Okay, that's a very good thing.
Awesome. Well, I think we ran out of time today, and this was kind of a fun little episode. So I don't know about you, Super E, but I think it's time for us to have an interview.
I like that idea.
So for our 5th episode coming up, we're going to try and get somebody to come in that we can interview that's kind of someone that we know. We'll pick someone that we know and put them out there so that they can... we can hear their story and kind of fit the puzzle in on how we can work together and how we can make money in real estate in different ways. So we'll keep that in suspense. We have a few ideas between us as to who we can probably invite to be on the show. But until next time, hang in there. And do you have any closing thoughts?
I would just say to make sure and get a great CPA and let us know about turning your phones off for at least an hour and how that went for you. Yep,
I will be on that challenge as well. So I'll be muting my watch more during the day, and I'm sure I'll be very productive. I'll be like Super E. I should have done this a long time ago. All right, everybody. I'm Justin Bogart with Bright Path Notes.
And Elizabeth with Elizabeth Mayora.
All right, and this was episode number 4 of the Super E and J podcast. See y'all next time.
Thank you.
Bye.